21321.
All three of them are dead. They're murdered. Worse than that, they're massacred. I've been to a lot of murder scenes in my life, and this ranks among the worst I've been to.
A manhunt has intensified in the state of Florida after three close friends found brutally murdered while on a fishing trip on Friday night in Florida. The father of one of the victims alerted police after his son called and simply said, "Help." This morning, an update from Polk County, Florida Sheriff Grady Judd. Sheriff, good morning to you. For you to say, you've been in this business for a long time, but to say this is one of the most brutal things you've ever seen, that says a lot about what happened out there.
Yes, Steve, it was a horrible event. Just think about it. When this is in the far end of our county, which is over 2,000 square miles, it's as far in the country as you can get. What's more wholesome on a Friday night than three best friends going fishing?
Yeah.
But before they ever got to the lake, they were met with tragedy in which they were not only just murdered, they were massacred. And it was a horrific scene. Our detectives have worked around the clock since Friday evening. We're following up dozens of leads, and quite frankly, Fox and all of their coverage has helped us a lot, but we're not there yet. We don't know who killed these three friends. And let me describe, they're just country folks, hardworking folks that get up every day and make their way through life. And they were out doing what they loved best, and they died for it.
Yeah, they went out to a lake. That was their plan, to go fishing on a Friday night. I used to do that when I was growing up. Sheriff, is there any inclination that, or indication that perhaps the assailants were known to these three young men?
We get no indication of that at this point in the investigation. This is an old clay road that goes to no place but orange groves, cow pastures, and a lake. But we do know that, according to information we've developed, that the kids hang out and drink and party and use dope. So we don't know if they met their nefarious people who killed them as a result of just driving to the fishing place and bumping into people who didn't like the fact that they were there.
Could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. I know that Brandon Rollins was able to call his dad, and he simply said, "Help." And his dad knew he was at the lake. And the dad took off and got to his son. And apparently the son was still alive. He was clinging to life. And he told the father he said some words, but I read one report, Sheriff, that apparently the dad was so shaken up by the fact that his son was dying, he wasn't really paying attention to what his son was saying.
Well, there was a conversation, and we're not releasing the details of that, but that is exactly correct, Steve. He was so shaken up, instead of using his son's cell phone to dial 911, he jumped up when he discovered he didn't have his cell phone and ran back to a convenience store about 10 minutes away. You can only imagine the horror for this father when he shows up and there is his son and his two best friends who are shot and already dead, and his dad and his son dying literally in his hands.
That's terrible. Sheriff, the community must be in shock.
They absolutely are. The Frostproof community is way down in the south end of our county. It's a big citrus area and farming area. Our metropolitan areas are way to the north of there. So you can imagine this is not something that happens once a decade or once a lifetime. This is something these folks imagine happens in big city centers, certainly not in a country road to no place other than a lake and orange groves. So they were really shook up. And the feedback and help is coming as far as the tips, but we don't have the right tip yet.
Well, I know if anybody has more information, they're urged to call your sheriff department. The phone number is 863-298-6200. That's 863